Hi, welcome to Kevin Alone's audiobook reading Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Part 3.3. Southwest figured out something that would prove invaluable. They realized that when they recruited flight attendants, the only people who applied for the job were cheerleaders and majorettes. That's because they were the only people who didn't mind wearing the new uniforms. Cheerleaders and majorettes, however, fit in perfectly at Southwest. They didn't just have a great attitude, their whole disposition was about cheering people on, spreading optimism, leading crowds to believe that we can win. They were perfect fits at a company that was the champion of the common man. Realizing this, Southwest started to recruit only cheerleaders and majorettes. Great companies don't hire skilled people and motivate them. They hire already motivated people and inspire them. People are either motivated or they are not. Unless you give motivated people something to believe in, something bigger than their job to work toward, they will motivate themselves to find a new job and you'll be stuck with whoever's left. Give them a cathedral. Consider the story of two stonemasons. You walk up to the first stonemason and ask, "Do you like your job?" He looks up at you and replies, "I've been building this wall for as long as I can remember. This work is monotonous. I work in the scorching sun all day. The stones are heavy, and lifting them day after day can be backbreaking. I'm not even sure if this project will be completed in my lifetime, but it's a job. It pays the bill." Thank him for his time and walk on. About 30 feet away, you walk up to a second stonemason. You ask him the same question. "Do you like your job?" He looks up and replies, "I love my job. I'm building a cathedral. Sure, I've been working on this wall for as long as I can remember. Yes, the work is sometimes monotonous. I work in the scorching sun, all day. The stones are heavy and lifting them all day after day can be backbreaking. I'm not even sure if this project will be completed in my lifetime, but I'm building a cathedral." What these two stonemasons are doing is exactly the same. The difference is one has a sense of purpose. He feels like he belongs. He comes to work to be part of something bigger than the job he's doing. Simply having a sense of why changes his entire view of his job. It makes him more productive and certainly more loyal. Whereas the first stonemason would probably take another job for more pay. The inspired stonemason works longer hours and would probably turn down an easier, higher paying job to stay and be a better part of a higher cost. The second stonemason does not see himself as any more or less important than the guy making the stained glass windows or even the architect. They're all working together to build a cathedral. It is this bond that creates camaraderie, and that camaraderie and trust is what brings success. People working together as a common cause and for a common cause. Companies with a strong sense of why are able to inspire their employees. Those employees are more productive and innovative, and the feeling they bring to work attracts other people eager to work there as well. It's not such a stretch to see why the companies that we love to do business with are also the best employers. When people inside the company know why they come to work, people outside the company are vastly more likely to understand why the company is special. In these organizations, from the management on down, No one sees themselves as many more or any less than anyone else. They all need each other. When motivated by why, success just happens. It was the turn of the century version of the dot-com boom. The promise of a revolutionary new technology was changing the way people imagined the future. And there was a race to see who could do it first. It was the end of the 19th century, and the new technology was the airplane. One of the best known men in the field was Samuel Pierpont Langley. Like many other inventors of his day, he was attempting to build the world's first heavier than air flying machine. The goal was to be the first to achieve machine powered, controlled manned flight. The good news was Langley had all the right ingredients for the enormous task. He had what most would define as the recipe for success. Langley had achieved some renown within the academic community as an astronomer, which earned him high ranking and prestigious positions. He was secretary of the Smithsonian Institution. He had been an assistant in the Harvard College Observatory and professor of mathematics at the United States Naval Academy. Langley was very well connected. His friends included some of the most powerful men in government and business, including Andrew Carnegie and Alexander Graham Bell. He was also extremely well funded. The War Department, the precursor, the Department of Defense, had given him $50,000 for the project. A lot of money in those days. Money was no object. Langley assembled some of the best and brightest minds of the day. His dream team included test pilot Charles Manley, a brilliant Cornell trained mechanical engineer, and Stefan Balzer, the developer of the first car in New York. Langley and his team used the finest materials. The market conditions were perfect, and his PR was great. The New York Times followed him around everywhere. Everyone knew Langley and was rooting for his success. But there was a problem. Langley had a bold goal, but he didn't have a clear sense of why. His purpose for wanting to build the plane was defined in terms of what he was doing and what he could get. He had had a passion for aeronautics since a very young age, but he didn't have a cause to champion. More than anything else, Langley wanted to be first. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. That was his driving motivation. Although already well regarded in his own field, he craved the kind of fame of a Thomas Edison or Alexander Graham Bell, the kind that comes only with inventing something big. Langley saw the airplane as his ticket to fame and fortune. He was smart and motivated. He had what we still assume as the recipe for success: plenty of cash, the best people, and ideal market condition. But few of us have ever heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley. A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright were also building a flying machine. Unlike Langley, the Wright brothers didn't have the recipe for success. Worse, they seemed to have the recipe for failure. There was no funding for their venture, no government grants, no high level connections. The Wright brothers funded their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person working on the team, including Orville and Wilbur, had a college education. Some didn't even finish college or high school. What the Wright brothers were doing wasn't any different from Langley or all the others trying to build a flying machine. But the Wright brothers did have something very special.